Calling all track and field fans. Get ready for Saturday, April the 19th. Save the date, save the date. Saturday, April the 19th. Get ready for a full day of track and field excellence as the Board of Governors of the Next Gen Event Inc. presents the inaugural Next Gen New York Invitational Relays Event 2025. The high school version from 8:30 in the morning till 6:30 p.m. inside the stadium at Memorial Field, 431 Garden Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York. Sponsors and partners are welcome, but make sure you get your entries in before March 31st. For more information, call 929-360-7585 or 973-510-3148. Or you can also email shawnoclaf@gmail.com. Track and field fans, don't miss it.
Yes, good night, my Facebook family and friends. Welcome to another episode of My Perspective. It's a pleasure to be here tonight again. And I hope that you all have been having a wonderful week so far. If we have started about the new episode, and, it's all good. Takes time to build, but we'll keep pushing. And, tonight, as I said, my special guest tonight is a chartered accountant and chairman of many boards of Jamaica, NSAAA, and he's now General Sec for JFF. But tonight, my friend and schoolmate, Dennis Chung, we're going to talk about the Jamaica economy. Yes, Jamaica economy and performance in 2024 and what the future lies for the economy for 2025 and beyond. So I asked him, he's an expert, he has made a lot of suggestions and he has made a lot of recommendations to the government of Jamaica. But for me personally, I've seen where there's a lot of transitions taking place. And that's why I asked him to come tonight to talk to me about it more. Because there have been lively comments and discussions about Jamaica economic performances and the drawbacks. And, that just some people are saying that as Jamaica said, nothing now go on still. But Statistics of Jamaica saying there's the 4% unemployment rate. Let's be able to clarify the information for me. But I need to hear from the man who's on the streets, who's on the ground in Jamaica, who can maybe give him some more clarity and some more different perspective of the Jamaica economy. And so I'm going to bring my friend, so Dennis Chung. Let me bring him right now. Dennis, my brother from another mother, how are you, sir?
Yeah, man, how are you doing, Sean?
How are you doing?
Good, man. Good.
Well, one thing I know about you, you read Jamaica colors every time, man. You have your colors on.
Yeah, man, I have to do that, man.
Yeah, well, I don't think that time, my brother. So how are you keeping? How's the family doing? Good?
I'm good, Everybody's all right, as all right as it can be, in this crazy world. The world is really crazy now, but yes. At the end of the day, everybody have to make sure they're okay. You have to take care of yourself. That's what it boils down to. You have to take care of people around you.
Yeah, and that's just the reality about it. We have to take care of ourselves, because I see we are President Biden just give his final address to the nation, and he's warning us about these oligarchs who want to bring their own agenda to the new administration. I tell you.
I tell you something. I think they've always done that, They've always existed.
Yes, man, of course.
They're more in your face now, but the truth is that they've always been there doing it behind the scenes.
Yes, and
I tell you, I just say that the FDA is saying that red dye number 3 that is used in many foods is linked to causing cancer in animals. Right?
Yes.
And to show you how it operates. So they said they're banning it now, and consumer advocates have been saying for many years that it causes cancer.
Right.
They said they're banning it, but remarkably, Sean, and to show that the oligarchs are always the ones in control. Even though they say it causes cancer,
Right.
they're banning it, but they're giving the companies 1 to 2 years to stop using it. So for the next 1 to 2 years, they must still use it.
And then more people will have cancer.
Exactly. That shows that they always exist.
Listen,
To
be honest, my brother, this is a serious situation with, I would say, medicine in general having issues, because they give you all these new medications, but behind the medications there is, they call it side effects, and these side effects affect other organs of the body, and then other organs of the body going to need some medication, and that medication they give will affects, and the cycle continues, and this is where the oligarchs have control over society.
Because
money,
and it's like that all over the world. That's why I said that people need to take care of themselves and do the work, the education for themselves. Read for yourself, understand how it works, and make your appropriate decisions. Because too many times, and I tell people all the while, too many people, as soon as somebody posts something on social media, they believe it. They don't question it.
And that's a problem we have right now. Misinformation. Even in chat groups, people post something and them chat something, some garbage sometimes, and be running it.
And people run with it.
And it is naivety. But my brother, we're not going. I come here to talk about Jamaica economy, and I would say, how was 2024? And I want you to tell me the real gist of Jamaica economic performance, because I'm seeing a lot of things happening. I'm hearing a lot of things happening in terms of the building, agriculture. I'm hearing, new highways. I hear unemployment rate is low. But still, there's some negative impacts like crime and violence and all those things. But so I want to give me your view on GDP is getting better and all those things. So talk to us.
So 2024 was a mixed bag. The start of the year, certainly the first 6 months was fairly good. I mean, we had some growth. We had a negative decline in the third calendar quarter of 2024, which was caused primarily by the hurricane season, because it was a very bad hurricane season for us. A lot of damage, I must tell you, I'm no longer chairman of NSWME, but I'm chairman of ODPEM now.
What's that now? What that chairman is all about? Tell me to break it up. I'm not used to the acronyms, Jamaica have to put organization. So give a breakdown.
So ODPEM is the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Wow, okay.
So we deal with all the management of natural disasters and all of that. So I actually spent 9 years as chairman of the NSWME. And that was sort of the statutory limit. And I think that after 9 years, it's time for me to leave there anyway. Nine years. So I was asked to chair ODPEM, and then about a month or two after going to their burial came. So we had a lot of things to do in terms of the response to ensure that relief supplies got to people and managing during the storm. And it was a bad season because we had a lot of rain.
Yes,
a lot of damage caused by rain. And because of that, we know climate change is real.
Yes.
It severely impacted us in Jamaica. So when you look at 2024, look at it within the context also of the global situation, because globally the world had a bad situation. Interest rates were going up all over the world.
Right.
So we had in 2024 we started to reduce interest rates. Right.
Bank of Jamaica.
Right. And I think that by the time we got to the point where interest rates were high, consumers started to feel it. So the economy started to slow down. So the second quarter we had growth of maybe 0.2%,
Mm-hmm.
and then a 3.5% decline in the third quarter, which is massive. And that was a combination of the fact that the economy had already started to slow down, because
Right.
that's what you do to fight inflation. You
Mhm.
take liquidity out of the system. And if
Right.
you
Cash
take
out of
liquidity out of the
system.
system and you raise interest rates, people are going to have it harder, because people can't go out and borrow anymore, right? People have credit issues, but the demand slows down, and that's how you control inflation.
Mhm.
But in addition to that, then you had the hurricane,
Right.
you had a natural disaster, so it caused a 3.5% decline. I say a mixed bag, because at the same time,
Mhm.
the unemployment rate at 3.2% is the lowest that we've ever recorded in the history of Jamaica.
3.2. Wow. I thought it
3.2.
was,
So
yeah.
unemployment is at 3.5 or so, is really defined as full employment.
Right. Right. They call it full employment
Yeah,
reach a level, but
we call it full
four. Yeah.
employment.
Right.
So one of the challenges that businesses face now, the economy is in decline, interest rates are high, and you can't get skilled labor because everybody's employed.
Hold on a
So
second. Hold on. Then. That's a serious thing and indictment
yeah,
on Jamaica labor force, because you're saying we can't. You employers want employee, but they're not skilled employees. That's what you're saying.
we don't have, number one is we don't have enough skilled employees, because remember a few years ago, like in the early 2000s, we were seeing where 70% of children were leaving school without passing one subject.
Wow, that's crazy.
That is what, so that is what we're
What year?
seeing
What year?
now,
What year, sir? What year?
like in the early 2000s,
Yeah.
right? So that is what we're seeing now. We're seeing the impact of all of that. But we've created a lot of jobs through the construction sector, expanding in terms of roads, agriculture, and that sort of thing. So you have this full employment, right? So most of your skilled people are employed, and people want to expand using skilled labor, but at the same time, interest rates are high and the economy is in decline. Right. So it has been difficult for businesses to get people. So it was a mixed bag for us. You know, the fact also is that the global economy was in turmoil, because the war in Ukraine was continuing, and
Israel,
also the Middle East, right?
Yeah, Israel,
Gaza. Yeah. So it was a year of ups and downs. Now, I recall, and I think I was on this program, Sean, where when COVID was coming, when COVID, the height of COVID, I said to people, listen, pay off all your debts because interest rates are going to go up.
Yes.
Right? And I said that to people. I said, pay off all your debts.
Pay down your debts. Yes.
Yeah. No, it's not the time to buy a car.
Or buy a new house.
Right? Or buy a new house.
I should say, additional houses.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Because interest rates would have gone up.
Right.
So if you had done that, then high interest rates can't affect you if you don't have debt.
Correct.
And that is why you do something like that.
Right.
At that point, when you see that interest rates are going to go up, right? The economy is going to slow down. There are a few things to do. You get into safe assets. You get into US dollars, for example. You get into bonds.
Bonds, okay.
Right? So things that don't have, the market is not going to affect too much. The price of it, so the value of it doesn't change. You're not going to make a lot of money on it, but at least the value don't go down.
Correct.
When the economies are weak and interest rates are high, the stock market gets impacted, right?
Yeah.
But bonds and that sort of thing. So the what you wanted to do at that time is pay off as much debt as you can,
Right.
So that you're not hit with a high interest rate, because when your mortgage move by 1%, for example, it's a lot of money that go on in terms of payment.
Yes, of
Right?
course. Yes.
And get into things like bonds and so on, just preserve your wealth. That's what you do during times when the economy is going down. You try and preserve your wealth, right? And if you had at the start of the COVID, or when interest rates are going up, you bought US dollars, for example, you'd have earned a little money on it. Not just preserve your capital, but you'd have earned a little money on it in terms of the interest rates and the value.
So what about average people who couldn't afford those bonds? And what would you say to them in terms of them? What would you have said to them differently?
No.
Apart from the man who have a cash?
I wouldn't have said anything differently. I'd have told them, pay off your as much debt as you can, number one. And if you have excess money, remember this thing I always say to people. People say, boy, but I don't have enough money, right? But you can, with $10,000, participate in a unit trust, a unit trust that is invested in bonds. Right. So there are ways by getting into that sort of thing for persons who don't have a lot of money to invest. Right. So this thing where people say, I don't have a lot of money, it don't make sense. And in addition to that, if you know 10 other people and each of you have $10,000, it's $100,000 that.
Right. I invest in everybody for the dividends when it grow. But the thing about
what I find, Sean, is that people spend most of their time complaining about something rather than doing something about it. Right? So when you say to them, boy, this is what you need to do. Oh, but I don't have enough money, right? So there's a different mindset when you say, boy, let me try and find a solution, rather than the mindset that say, I'm going to find a problem for everything out there.
Yeah, and it's our mind, that's a Jamaican mindset, because every time they say something, they say, man, like I'll just give you an example. I was in Jamaica, saw this kid. He has some mental issues, we understand that. But I said to him, say, why don't go get a skill? Why? Because of my issues. I said, no. Art is there free. Go and learn a skill. Although you have a mental issue, but still you have a skill. It still can earn some money. That makes sense? Get a skill, but the mindset was this, oh, I'm a mental issue, we can't do it. I'm going to try. You're going to get paid weekly until you get this skill. No matter what challenge you have, they're going to help you until you can help yourself.
But what if people can't get past the mindset? And this is what I see when I look at social media all the while, and I see how people just always complaining. And I'm saying, if you spend your time complaining, then you have no time to spend on solutions, right? So even though 2024 was a mixed bag, not a good year, there are things that you could do to at least preserve wealth or grow it a little bit.
And that's correct, because every dollar adds up.
Exactly.
Every dollar adds up. And people don't understand.
The other thing.
Go ahead.
The other thing, and this is what I don't understand about people too. Crime actually fell by 19% in 2024. Murders. Fell by 19%. Right? Now, people, the first thing they say is when somebody gets killed, boy, crime is up. Right? I know, like when the road patching started, I hear people complain about it. I know personally that the roads were getting better with the patching because I ride a bicycle. So I see. But somebody in a car is not going to see what I see. Right? So I see it. And I also, when I look at the thing overall and I compare the murders I saw and how the police were working, when I see the police working on the street, I could see that there was some improvement. So I never closed my mind and said, boy, I'm going to follow the rhetoric out there. to say, of course, I mean, you have a mass killing happen, and everybody said, "What's this?"
Right.
Sorry, because you're shocked, but look at the thing objectively. That's all
No,
I'm saying.
objectively, it's not a thing about Jamaica. They just think one. If somebody says something this way, they'll go one way. And I talk about crime. There was this big discussion in my chat with 85 crew. Big up 85 crew. That if crime is down, the economy will boom. Is that a myth or a fact?
No, it is a fact. Sean, let me just get some water.
Yes.
Yeah? Just get some water.
So he's saying Robert Tooth and Dexter and company, EFA said that if crime goes down, the economy will boom. So he will be back in telling me why, if crime is reduced, how it will impact the economy, how it will make the economy boom. Because that is one of the I personally say that there are more variables to making the economy boom. So Dennis, redirect back to you.
Yeah.
You said crime is a big factor for the economy to boom. Clarify that statement.
It is big. And this is why. So last year, crime went down. In 2023, crime reduced by about 9%.
Right.
In 2024, it reduced by 19%.
Right.
Right? So we're seeing less murders. Murders. Right?
Right.
Now, why is it such a big thing? You'll recall that when the multilaterals used to speak a few years ago, they always said, which is factual, crime takes about 4% of GDP away from us.
4%. Wow,
4%.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, but think about it, Sean. If murders are high and people are fearful, then at nights people stay home.
Right, correct.
Or people are afraid to go to certain places.
Right.
What drives economic activity is people moving around and buying things.
Correct. Movements.
Right. So if you look
at people going around.
Right. So why the economy declined during the COVID lockdown is because there's nobody moving around to buy something, nothing.
Right. Correct.
So if people are fearful to go outside and do things because of crime, then at nights you're going to have one country that don't have any crime. They can run 3 shifts at a company. When you have a country that have crime, you can have 1 shift. So the machine is idle for 16 hours.
And that's where productivity comes into play right now.
Exactly. So productivity comes in play. The other thing about crime is that when you have murders occurring, you actually killing off your productive people.
In terms of what do you mean kill out?
When you kill, so you could murder somebody who is the next big business person, who is the next Usain Bolt.
Right.
You understand? Right. So crime does take away from economic activity, and economic activity drives growth.
Right. So which is productivity, and which connected to productivity.
Right. So therefore, the reduction in crime is always going to be key. It is very important. And what I would like to see happen again this year is a further reduction. No, we're not going to get a reduction where there's a 50% reduction, because you have a violent society. So if we have 9% reduction in 2023 and we have 19% in 2024, even if we have 15% in 2025, that's significant. And what is going to happen sooner or later is you're going to start seeing the benefits. So take the fiscal accounts, for example. Remember, in 2013, the economy almost fell off a cliff.
Right.
Peter Phillips was finance minister at the time.
Right. Did a wonderful job taking it off.
Yeah, because he helped to create that IMF program.
Right.
Which basically brought us back to the point where we are a model that the world looks at as a success, because we brought our debt to GDP ratio from 150% to about 70% now. What that has done, and that didn't happen overnight, because after 2013, we did go through some rough periods.
Right.
There's a lot of sacrifices, and that was 11 years ago.
Right.
Where we are today because of that is that the government, so we had Hurricane Beryl the other day. We were able to do the recovery without borrowing any money. That's the first Jamaica has ever done that.
Right.
We didn't have to borrow.
Yeah, and that's where I want. That's where I want to go to in the next conversation we're having. Because we say Dexter, yeah, man, confirm, man. Crime impact one, boom. But my thing is this: I'm trying to be correct. Is that I think crime follow crime, and this is what I have seen, that when people who are involved in crime, it stays within that crime. But you're saying that kind of crime expands to the economy, affect the productivity of the economy. Now, I just want to talk about something quickly. My thing is this: what is the government planning to do with the labor force in terms of bringing flexi time? Because I think if I'm bringing new labor laws to enhance productivity, because I hear the kind of terms that beat the jumbo of productivity every time. And my thing is this: if you can't bring certain things to the table, change the labor law, bring flexi time, bring the different variables, so the economy, as I said, is a movement of people all around. If you cannot increase the movement by bringing some inducement to labor laws and all that, then we can't wait to crime. But okay, you were saying that maybe this year might be 15%, because you're saying Jamaica is a violent society.
Yeah, so that's a very interesting point, Sean, because the IMF agreement in 2013 said that one of the most important things that need to be changed is labor market reform.
Right.
Since then, that has not been done.
Why?
Because it is too political. Labor market reform.
In terms of what? VNP, JLP, what? Talk to me straight. Keep it straight.
Labor market reform means that you are going to, for example, so if I catch a man stealing on camera, right? And I terminate that man in Jamaica. And the way I terminate him violates one procedure in the step of about 6 processes, 6 steps, right? In the process. I guarantee you that man is going to go to the IDT and get back his job.
All right, but then that's right? but let's talk about labor reform.
Yeah, and that's a part of labor market reform, because what we want to do. So if you so look at it this way, Sean. You in the US, if you don't go to work and don't give an explanation, what happened to your job?
Fire.
You can't do that here.
And that's a problem, because that alone affects productivity.
Right. And it also affects without people knowing. It affects people's income also, because when we think we're protecting people by saying, boy, you can't do that, you are actually making people less productive. And if you make people less productive, then guess what? They are going to be earning less money. And that's the problem. So if Jamaica's economy grows by 100% tomorrow, I guarantee you, the people who are feeling it at the low income levels are still going to feel it. They're going to get some.
Labor reform is important.
Labor market reform is very important, but we have not done it.
Listen, my thing is this: in the states, we still have the unions in the states. Certain jobs are union, but one of the things with the state, you are hired at will. Okay, you have your contract when you go in. You have a contract. They give you a contract. They sign. They stay category, and if you breach any of that contract, they can, for whatever reason, fire you, or after 1 year, they can terminate your services if they feel that your performance is not up to satisfactory to the company. And this is why
that doesn't happen here.
And that's why when you guys talk about productivity, it's going to be a very challenging
It's going to be very, very challenging, and we are not going to be able to make people's lives better because of that. So, for example, I see that Meta, which is the company, that the new name for Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg is planning to lay off 3,500 workers, right? And many companies in the States, when times get bad, they lay off thousands of workers.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And the reason why Zuckerberg is laying off thousands of workers is because he's going to bring new technology to make the place more efficient.
Right.
Right?
Which makes sense, yeah.
Yes, but guess what? You can't do that in Jamaica. So
Because
businesses will never get...
Will not be able to get back work?
No, because our labor laws require, so if someone does something, for example, that is showing that they're not efficient in the company and it's causing problems, you have to go through a process of about 3 months
before you can get rid of that person.
Yeah, right. By that time, your company gone down the drain, you know.
Lose money, profit gone.
Right. So we have to understand, and what that has caused. That has caused for when people to be hired, they start hiring people on contracts.
Right.
And most people don't have pension or health because they're on contract. And so we have created. So this is something that we have done for decades. And what we've done is created a society where we have people, right, a workforce that will never improve their income.
Really?
Yeah. Because we're caught in this vortex. We think that we're protecting people. It's like you have a child, Sean, and when that child is growing up, you don't teach them. You don't let them learn the hard way.
Right.
You keep giving them, giving in.
Yeah, but I don't care. We're 3+ now, boy. Everything more, I'll give you 3. But
yeah. So what happens when you reach 18?
We want the same thing. Now, nobody
can't fend for himself.
Correct.
And that is what has happened to our labor force. We have thought that we were doing the right thing by protecting people and ensuring that they get what is due to them, because we had a problem with capital in this country. We don't like capital, right? And because of that, we have now created a labor force that does not know how to survive. And that's a problem. That's a problem that Jamaica faces. So the world is going with AI and new technologies. We are not doing that.
But this is that's a get them redundancy and pay them all. Yeah, but you're going to cost the company money, and some company now that liquid cash to pay some of them. So that's another problem. But AI, the world is moving in different directions. If Jamaica don't take a pragmatic approach to labor reform, I just say our people will be stuck in a zone that they can't come out of. We have been protecting these people.
Yeah, it's like a time warp. People are going to be stuck in a time warp.
And this is what I want to say to you. I want to use an example. You have been educated, smart. You have been to different jobs. You out of the box about many positions. You have been at NSWA, now you are OPM, now you are JFF. Because you see where you must be able to grow and expand your knowledge and earning power by having more than one position. And that's where Jamaica is with the labor force. Is that a person wants to sit in a job, he wants to live for 30, 45 years for retirement. Those days are over. Because once again, when the global market, the world is now a global place where everybody's integrated through what? Internet, social media, everything. So if our people, the government or the politics don't change them on the labor reform, or people will be stuck and then they'll be left behind.
Yeah, and that is what is going to happen to us.
In the growth too. That we're in the growth a lot.
Yeah, I mean, for example, I recall last year,
Mm-hmm.
I was going from Houston to New York,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes, sir.
The night before,
Mm-hmm.
I went on the computer
Mm-hmm.
and made and confirmed my flight,
Correct. Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
I would have gone on the computer before
Mm-hmm.
and got my ticket, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I confirmed the flight the night before, checked my
Right.
bag in that
Mm-hmm.
night, and
Mm-hmm.
then when I got to the airport, I didn't even go to a person. I went to a machine
Yes.
and checked my bag in,
Mm-hmm. Print the
carried it
boarding
to the
pass.
drop off,
Mm-hmm.
and got my boarding pass.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Go
I
to
went on the
TSA.
plane. I
Mm-hmm.
went on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
It was a horrible flight. The turbulence was wicked.
Don't worry,
It's the worst. It's the worst turbulence I've ever been in. To be
don't
honest, with
worry. I've been through that. But I cry
you.
for man. I won't be that.
Right,
Yeah, be
right.
sure. Yes.
But I went on, and when I got to New York,
Mm-hmm.
I used my phone and ordered an Uber.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
I got the license plate for the Uber.
Picture the
So
person driving you.
when it was driving up,
Mm-hmm.
I just went to it. I
Mm-hmm.
showed the thing to the driver,
Right.
and he put my luggage in the car, dropped me off at a hotel in Manhattan,
Right.
and I checked in on a computer,
Mm-hmm.
and it printed a ticket for me, a door key.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
I went in and I went upstairs. I
Mhm.
ordered room service on the computer, on my phone.
Right.
The food was dropped off for me,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then I went to a store,
Mm-hmm.
bought something, and did self checkout.
Right.
Now, understand this. I had no interaction with anybody from the point of
Correct.
buying the ticket to the next
From
day.
Houston to New York, to the hotel
Right.
to buying food and back to ordering
Right.
food. No contact.
Do you know how efficient that process is? Because if I were, for example, interacting with humans,
Oh,
one
God.
of the things that would happen, number one, it might not be processed as efficiently, but number two, mistakes would be made.
Correct.
Right? Now
Correct.
that's what we face. I go to the UK, for example, to London, and I'm walking through the airport,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't see, if you walk in the airport in Jamaica, you see people cleaning the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the UK, I see robots cleaning the place. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I go in the same UK, I go to a store and there's no shopping attendant even outside helping you with the cart.
Mm-hmm.
You go up to a place where the carts are, you deposit some money,
Mm-hmm.
take out the cart,
Okay.
go and use it. When you're finished with it, you
Mhm.
put it back and then it returns your money. Right?
I leave the card somewhere.
Self-checkout.
Yeah. But you see, and this is coming back to our politicians. Whenever they talk, well go off that, but this is what boils down to our politicians, and this is what Jamaicans need to understand. There are tough decisions that they have to make to move the country forward in terms of labor laws, technology investment, increasing productivity. And if I don't know which government going to, whether Andrew or will come in next election, going to for next, there must be some forward planning. Because I remember PJ putting this 2030 envision thing where we want to be a developing nation by that time, whatever. But if there are not things put in place and the politics all agree that we need to move in this direction quickly so people can catch up, then once again, our people will be stuck.
Yeah, and the truth is that the US actually went through this in the 1800s to 1900s, right? So there's a book called The Singularity is Nearer by Ray Kurzweil.
I heard about that book, yes.
I read that book. Very, very good book. And it said that when technology was replacing jobs. So in the US, for example, in the 1900s, we had the switchboard come in, and the switchboard replaced thousands of workers.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
There was a lot of demonstration because people are being replaced, right?
Right.
But what happened, and what Ray Kurzweil said in that book, is that inevitably, when new technology comes in and replaces the old workforce,
right,
it creates new jobs.
Correct. And that's where we're coming with
yes.
retraining.
So the number of jobs available before the technology came in was actually more after it came in.
Right.
You know, but the immediate reaction from people is, oh, I'm going to lose that job. But what technology does, it replaces the jobs at a lower income level, and it creates jobs at higher income levels.
But people don't see that, Dennis. People believe that technology come to replace people. Yeah, technology will always be replacing jobs, but always creating new jobs.
Yeah, but you see, it left up to leadership to decide. My personal view is that technology is going to get to a place where it is producing so much that people don't have to work.
And I will stop right there because we have talked about that at different time. But go back to Jamaica. Because listen, if we go into this thing, right now, I work from home and it's technology I'm using to drive my business. And that I'll leave right there. But go back to the economy. I see where construction has been expanding rapidly in terms of housing developments, new high-rising buildings, and
yeah, man. So and this is why I said 2024 is a mixed bag. Where I see it going in 2025, I think that 2025 is a transition year for Jamaica.
Transition, really?
Yeah. And let me tell you why. I think that the policies that the government is putting in place are the right ones from the point of view of what I think can drive productivity and also drive increased disposable income. Let me tell you why I said that.
What policies are you talking about? Give some clarification, Dennis.
All right. So for example, expanding and making for a much more efficient transportation system.
Transportation, oh boy.
Transportation, I think.
Yes.
Public transportation is the main thing that can drive a reduction in the demand for foreign exchange and an increase in disposable income. And why do I say that?
Yes.
If you think about it, if we were to put in a good public transportation system, and you see that the JUTC is now going to St. Thomas, and I think that they should expand further to maybe to Old Harbor and put in a good public transportation. So more buses are coming, for example, right? 100 new buses are coming also. If you were to have more people, a significant amount of people taking public transport, then 30% of your oil bill that you import, which is the biggest import item of about 2.5 billion US dollars a year, you can cut out, let us say you cut out half of that 30%, which is used on transportation, right? You are basically reducing your foreign exchange demand by about 400 million US dollars a year.
Okay.
Right? So that's one. In addition to that, right now, because the public transportation system is bad, when a man leaves university, he has to think about car payment. If you had a good public transportation system, when I go to New York, for example, or I go to London, I would never rent a car. I jump on a subway.
Right.
So I don't have to think about that car expense. And when you go to these cities to like New York and London, if you want a car, what you do? You don't buy a car. You order Uber.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
Car is an inconvenience, and it's a lot of money. So
because traffic and congestion and all that now, yeah.
Yeah, if the university student can come out, have a good public transportation system, and don't have to think about car payment, or the household, the person who work, the average worker, don't have to think about car payment. They are saving $50,000 to $80,000 a month, that they can use for other things,
Correct. That's correct.
You understand? So you see, a good public transportation system will increase disposable income significantly, and it also reduces the demand for foreign exchange, which means that you control inflation and cost of living.
But some people will say otherwise. Some people say, boy, you have to stop poor man from our car.
Well, a car makes you poor.
Eh?
A car makes you poor.
But people not said that. People
well, that's because people don't stop and think about it properly. But a car makes you poor.
But they must say the road them bad. We want to move from point A, but transportation system goes up.
Well, listen, Sean. All I do is give people advice. If them don't want to take it, them don't take it. Go buy the car.
I agree with you. I agree.
You understand?
But you see the thing about it, I grew up in the country. When I was there, a car was a luxury thing. When you get out of a car, you move around because public transportation still was poor, as I said. And if you say improve public transportation system, then at least people will be more inclined to take the public transportation, save on gas and stop by car. Because like now in New York, in Manhattan, below the 60th Street, they're bringing some tool thing. They've got a congestion tool pricing.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of congestion. And from that tool came in, trust me, no congestion.
No congestion.
And jump on the park train and the subway.
Yeah. And a lot of people save money doing that. No, the other thing.
A lot of money, you see. I can't tell you.
And the government is focusing in Jamaica on a good public transportation system. So they're doing what they can to improve. It's going to take a little time, but I think it's improving.
Yes, of course.
The other thing, because when I drive on the road, when I drive in, and I look at the buses, and I'm saying, but the people look very comfortable in there, the new buses. Everybody has a seat, it's air conditioned, and that's what we need to do. The other thing, though, that the government is doing is focusing a lot on introducing renewable energy. So
excellent. That's very
if you can do that, right? So solar, the cost of solar, for example, is about 8 cents per kilowatt hour US, right?
Right.
The cost of heavy fuel oil is running more like about 18 cents, right?
Right.
If you can get more and more renewables on your grid, and people, so I tell people I am full solar at home.
Yeah, congratulations, Baka.
You know how much my light bill is every month? In Jamaican dollars, $550.
Wow.
And I use everything, AC, everything, because I'm full solar, right?
But
so therefore, if we, Sean, as a country, if the government, which is what the government is doing, because they just introduced between Wigton Energy, which I'm chairman of Wigton Energy, and a company called Sunterra, we just got awarded 100 megabytes to go on the grid, right? What we're doing now as a country is bringing down the cost of electricity more and more, right? And a lot of people are going the way of solar. And in addition to that, what you find is that the government also has reduced the duty on electric vehicles to 10%.
Nice.
So if you can get a combination, so if you look at it this way, 30% of the energy bill, the food, the oil import bill, is consumption in electricity usage at home.
Right? Oil.
So if you can bring another half of that cost down, right? In addition to the $400 million you're saving on the side of the fuel consumption because of public transport, right? And maybe EVs. You will be saving, and EVs is going to bring that even down more, right? But let's leave it at 400 million.
Right.
If you can get another 15% off of the light bill, it's another 400 million US dollars you're looking at, you know. So between the both of them, you're saving 800 million US dollars a year. So you see how your foreign exchange demand coming down.
So one of the viewers asking, what incentive being offered to convert to solar? Is there incentives?
Yeah, man. So I think there's a tax credit. So the government has given a tax credit, but you also can get a cheap loan from NHT.
Yeah, NHT.
NHT, a solar loan from NHT, very cheap. And what is important to understand is that once your loan payment per month is less than what you would pay for your light bill, you're better off. Because at the end of the 5 years when you don't pay off the loan, you still have the system running and you're still saving on that, right?
Nice.
And during the 5 years you would pay. So the government has put incentives in place, and this is why I said the policies that they have in place are moving in that direction. In addition to that, Sean.
Yes, sir.
If the light bill goes down, you see that disposable income gone up again.
Yes, sir. And then what about the address? Big up yourself, Maurice. Thanks for the question, sir. Big up yourself.
Yeah, so disposable income goes up.
Because we like to reduce more money in the pocket.
Disposable income gone up again, right? So those are two of the policy initiatives, right?
Right.
Let us look now at the policy initiative that is taking place of better roads.
Yeah.
Because the problem that we have, with our potholes is that what the problem that we have now with bad roads, you know, is not a problem of today. The fact is that for 30 years we have done no maintenance at all on the roads.
But before I go on, someone said if they're going to give any grants, Maurice is going to give grants for solar, giving grants. I just loans them up now.
And I think it's just loans they have. I don't know if they have grants now. But what I know also is that the social housing program that the Prime Minister has, where he actually provides housing for people, he's now also providing solar equipped houses.
Okay. So let's move on to roads. Let's move on to roads.
All right.
You know,
all right. So
talk about the roads.
The problem that we have with the roads is that there has been no maintenance for 30 years, right?
Okay.
But there are two things that they're doing. They are patching the roads, and I see the improvement because, as I say, I ride my bicycle. So just just riding on Port Royal Road, the road between airport and Port Royal, for example, before the patching, it was horrendous. Now I can ride, and there is still some potholes, right? But I don't have what I had before, right? So I know as a cyclist on the road, right? No car people can't tell me no, because I'm out there with it face to face.
Right.
Right? So there's some improvement there, but they're also looking at expanding the road network. So for example, you look at the Montego Bay bypass. That's going to be a big productivity improvement.
Yeah, man, I saw that big thing. Make the circle.
And they're also looking at improving the roads around the entire island, the main roads, right? Now, think about it, Sean. I did some computations, which I had written in an article about 4 or 5 years ago. It shows at the time that if you spent an additional 1 hour, if everybody spent an additional 1 hour in the traffic, everybody from the workforce per day in the work week, you know how much money it costs the country every year in productive hours? $200 billion.
I know. But Dennis, you see, and With someone sent to us that okay, the agriculture roads and the parish council roads are that's bad. But
but they're being worked on, right? And what we need to do, the strategy I think they have, and what we need to do, we need to, and this is why I bring in the thing about people spending time in traffic, because what you need to do, we need to work on those minor roads, but the main thing we need to do is look at the roads where most of the traffic is first, because if you do that, then you're increasing your productivity more by doing that. So if you have a road that 100 cars drive on it a day, and you have another road that 10 cars drive on it a day, it's better you improve the one first with the 100 cars.
Right.
Because you're getting greater productivity output from that. So that is what they're doing. That's what they're doing. So if you think about it, if that policy goes in, it continues, and you're fixing your roads and improving productivity there, and you also combine that with the public transportation system, you realize how you're increasing disposable income and productive income to people.
So you're saying renewable energies, public transportation, road network, improving those will give more disposable income to
those are three big ones. But the biggest one for me is the crime reduction, 19% in 2024. In 2025, if we can continue that trend, I think what you're going to see, you're going to start seeing people feeling it now on the road and saying, boy, I'm comfortable with where the crime is, right? And now feel like I can move around. So I think that those four things from a policy perspective, if the government were to just focus on those, and the evidence is that they're focusing on those things, you're going to start seeing benefits. So, for example, the fiscal improvements that we've seen, they are now able, and election is coming up next year. I have no doubt it's passed.
This year, man.
This year. But what they're able to do, as I said, they were able to fix the damage that was caused by Beryl without any loans, which previously we'd have to go and borrow a whole heap of money.
Right.
But now they are now giving people back tax credits. And
tax credit is good. Money back in, for disposable income back to the people.
Right.
By the taxes, right?
And the reason why they're able to do that is because we have built up a fiscal surplus and reduced our debt to GDP. So that's why I say that 2025, if we continue on that path, is going to be a transition year. If we don't continue on the path, though, I guarantee you, if we get back to where we were in 2013, I don't think nothing going to help us this time. I think we're going to fall off the ship. Because Sean, if you have a sickness and you cure it and it come back the second time, it's always wickeder.
Yeah, I understand that. But Jamaica has been through so much.
Which is why we need to preserve it and make sure. And this is why I think that one of the biggest changes that need to happen is the mindset of the people. I tell you, I give it to you this way, Sean. When I spoke to you about what happened during high interest rates, right?
Right.
You can either say the cup is half full or half empty. If you have a half empty mindset, then what you're going to think about is emptying the cup.
Right.
If you have a half full mindset, you're going to think about ways of filling it up more.
Right.
And that is what I think. Once that change starts to happen in people's minds,
right,
I think that you're going to say the society and the economy do a lot better, because the most important thing in any organization, people don't realize, and I realize it over my years, is culture.
Culture and mindset of the people.
Culture and mindset is the most important. The United States, you know why the United States was such a great country?
Was?
I say was because I can tell you, Sean, I think you guys are more political now than what we in Jamaica are.
Why then I won't disagree with that one.
Right?
But what I thought, my friend Dexter asked the question: why only people who earn under 3 million get tax credit? What about people who earn over 3 million? Why them can't get them tax credit too?
Because the people under 3 million need it more. So if you were a government, Sean, and you want to improve economic activity, you know, my uncle, many years ago, he said to me, Dennis, remember this when you're doing business. Poor people spend money more than rich people.
But that's a bad mindset to have.
It is a bad mindset, but the fact is true. So if you want economic activity to improve, the fact of the matter is that if you give money to people with the lowest income, they are going to spend it. And it's not just a mindset, you know, Sean. The fact that you have more limited money means that you have not fulfilled most of your needs yet. So when you get more money, so you want to give money more, you want to give more credit. And this is an accepted principle across governments across the world.
I realize that.
You're right. You want to give more credit and incentive to people who earn less. Because you want to remember part of the role that government has, a big role also, is to create more equality, you know. So if you give people who at a higher income level the same credit like a man at a lower income level, that's not equity.
No, because the money at a higher level don't need it.
That's not equity.
That's the assumption that they don't need that money, but people at lower level will need, because it helps them to balance.
And let me tell you something. The irony of it is that even though the credit is given to the people at the lower levels, you know, all money comes back to people with capital, you know.
It come back to people with capital, right?
It come back there.
Yeah.
Because they are the ones who have the business and selling the things.
Correct. And all the people money who get the credit when they need the money spent back on their products. Which
is why I said to people all the while, I said to the people in governments over the years all the while, if you increase salaries without increasing productivity, you're only hurting the poor man, because what you're doing is creating inflation.
Correct.
The man with capital get that money come to him.
Dennis, you know, so we're out of time.
Yeah, man.
Dennis, we're out. But I know every time it happens to us.
Yeah. We'll have to talk again, man.
Yeah, so again, we can't do part two because we see that because you know this conversation it's so interesting that the part two have to come. I don't know.
Yeah.
And my viewers have been making their comments and all that about this conversation we're having about the economy and all about these things. And I know we have not touched even what 2025 will look like for the government, what they should be doing. But just to
I think 2025 can be a good year for us. As I said, if we focus on those things, then what? And I think that's what the government has said they're doing, because their intent is to increase disposable income for people. And if we do those things, we are going to increase disposable income for people.
Right.
And if we focus on the crime thing too, we are going to make the society a safer place. And so, that, I think, is the role of government, and they must do it.
So public transportation, and you say crime,
renewable energy.
Renewable energies, right?
Right.
And you say infrastructure, which is road.
Infrastructure, network. Right.
And which I want, it gave me 1, 2, 3, 4.
Those are the 4 things, right? Which I said that if we focus on those things, you are going to see a better economy, you're going to see increased disposable income, and you're going to see a better society, which for me is very important.
All right. So the viewers them ask for part 2, Dennis, and I know you grant me, but I'll have to work with your schedule as per usual. And I know that they say they want to send me some questions to ask you. Is that okay with this?
No problem.
Next time we go myself, man. We have to have a part 2, so please stay tuned. And Dennis, you know, this is you know, if the politics of Jamaica can speak this language what we are speaking tonight. You know, Jamaica can go far. Oh, and one thing, labor reform. That's one of the biggest things we got.
Yeah, labor market reform is critical. If we don't get labor market reform, then productivity will not increase. And if productivity don't increase, well, productivity will increase with the other things.
Right.
But if we want real productivity increases, labor market reform, and that is where people are going to really start earning a lot more income.
Yes, sir. So Dennis, I will link you up a part 2.
Yeah, man.
Maurice, yes, further, big up yourself. Dexter, thank you for your questions. You know, you guys have thank you for tuning in, and we'll definitely have part 2 of Dennis. Thank you once again, my brother. And I will be in touch with you. And you know, we continue this discussion because I have my notes, and we're going to take it for 2025 and see our best economy. And we're going to talk about the political culture, and I want to talk about the corruption and how it affects the economy. Because there's something I'm seeing now. The way I say this, we call it mocha, going around and going to the same circle and all that. So those are the things I want to talk to you about Jamaica economy and how it impacts them too in the second part of our interview.
Yeah, man, no problem, Sean.
Thank you, sir. And I will send my regular email asking for a date. I confirm, and I will tell my viewers when we can expect you again, sir.
Yeah, man. All right.
Thank
cool
you. Have a good night.
Yeah, man.
Peace
All right, you too.
One love. Yeah. Yes, my viewers, that was Dennis. He has been he says so much. He says so much, my viewers, and as I say, we have a part 2 because we talk about so critical things the economy, the government of Jamaica at this time has been doing. And you know, he mentioned public transportation is one, crime, renewable energies, infrastructure, labor market reform has to be done so people can have more money in their pocket and all that. So he has said a lot. But we're going to do a part 2 and do a follow-up series on this discussion about all these items and see what else he will have to share with us in terms of Jamaica economy moving forward successfully for 2025. And so best we can get another level of growth in Jamaica. So once again, my Facebook family and friend Dexter, Maurice, and all other viewers, thank you for joining me on My Perspective. Join me next week, Wednesday, for another episode of My Perspective. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Wherever you are, if you're cold, stay warm. If you're hot, make sure you have some AC. So have a good night. Have a blessed rest of the week, and see you all next week, Wednesday, for another episode of My Perspective. Good night. Take care.
Calling all track and field fans. Get ready for Saturday, April the 19th. Save the date, save the date. Saturday, April the 19th. Get ready for a full day of track and field excellence as the Board of Governors of the Next Gen Event Inc. presents the inaugural Next Gen New York Invitational Relays Event 2025, the high school version, from 8:30 in the morning till 6:30 p.m. inside the stadium at Memorial Field, 431 Garden Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York. Sponsors and partners are welcome, but make sure you get your entries in before March 31st. For more information, call 929-360-7585 or 973-510-3148. Or you can also email shawnoclaf@gmail.com. Track and field fans, don't miss it.